Good afternoon, class. Today is Tuesday, October the 6th, and this is our lecture on vocal registers and blending. So what you're going to do is I want you to click forward for each slide, and now we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, so what exactly is vocal register? Well, not talking about registering for classes, not talking about the thing that cashiers take your money and put your money inside of a register at a store. But vocal register is a series of consecutive pitches that have a similar tone quality. Okay, so for instance, if I were to sing in my chest voice, or actually, I'm speaking right now in my chest voice, which is the lower register of our voices. If I were to start singing, if I were to sing, let's just, what's the song real quick? Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. Those pitches have a similar tone quality. Same as if I were to switch to what's known as my head voice. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. That is my head voice. Or for men, it's known as the falsetto voice. Women do not sing in falsetto. Women sing in our head voices. Men, we don't say head voice, we say falsetto. Well, some people mix it up. But anywho, you get the idea. So it's produced using the same muscular action of the vocal mechanism. Usually you can hear the change when people switch between registers. For instance, if I were to do chromatic ascension from my chest voice to my head voice, and for me, it would sound like this. So I went from my chest voice to my head voice. Some of you may have been able to hear where my voice switched over. That's something we'll talk about a little bit later in this lecture of what that's called when it switches from chest to head or from head to chest. But some of you may not have. I have been working over the years to make that change much more seamless, meaning to where you can't hear it as clearly. There was a time when I used to do it and I would go, I had a hard time switching, but over the years, I've been able to make that transition a little bit more seamless. And that's the goal we want to take. All right. So in the next slide, and when you click over, you're going to hear vocal registers explained. I want you to watch that video. And as soon as the video is over, proceed to the next slide. Make sure that you watch the video because material covered in that video will be on your next quiz. All right. Moving forward. So the next topic we want to talk about is vocal blending. So not like the blender you see right there on the side pictured. Vocal blending is a method of training where we use our voice to coordinate through the transitions of your range. Try to do it as easily as we can without it being obvious. That goes back to what I was talking about, making it very seamless when you go from chest to head. So we want to talk through some techniques that you would want to know. All right, so now we're going to introduce some terms that you would need to know that can help with that vocal blending. And we will work a little bit more on this when we're face to face. Okay, in the video you saw in the third slide, the gentleman was talking about the thyroarynoid muscle. So big word, we just call it for short, the TA muscle. Okay, so that is essentially, just to make it very simple and plain, the TA muscle is the muscle that we use that's responsible for allowing us to sing with our chest voice, okay? It says the shortening and thickening of the vocal cords. When we sing or when we speak in our chest voice, we are utilizing that TA muscle, okay? So when you're talking in class, when you're just talking to people in general, that is the muscle that we use the most. The thing we want to avoid is overusing it. When you think about people who scream a lot, who holler a lot, think about coaches, think about just anybody who does a lot of hollering for a living or does just on a regular basis. They are abusing that TA muscle. People who belt, who sing real loud all the time, oftentimes if they are not using good vocal practices, using good vocal hygiene. They are abusing that TA muscle, and that is not what you want to do. Okay. So the thyroid muscle, you will see that term again. That is what the muscle that is responsible for, making our chest voice as strong as it is. And we want to keep that muscle very strong. The other muscle, the cricothyroid muscle, or the CT muscle, we'll call it CT for short, is the one that's responsible for lengthening and thinning the vocal folds. Essentially, just a big old term to tell you that the CT muscle is the muscle that we use for men to sing in your head voice. Think Mickey Mouse, think Michael Jackson oftentimes he sings a whole lot by utilizing the CT muscle. Women, if you think about classical singers, opera singers, they really, really have strong CT muscles. And even in pop music, there are some singers who use their CT muscle a lot, especially in popular music today. I can never say her name right. Jhené Aiko. I'm probably still saying that wrong, but anywho, she uses her CT muscle a lot. It's still very thin and airy, so I don't think that the muscle is strong, even though she uses it a lot. But it's there. That's what she utilizes. She sings a lot there. It's always good to have that muscle be strong, because you want to be able to use the full range of your voice and be able to switch between registers and do it very seamlessly. So then there's another voice that we use, and this is a term you'll need to know as we talk about vocal registers. And remember, you'll be tested on this, so please make sure that you are taking all this information in and you are taking notes in this. So there's the mixed voice, or the middle voice. That is where the TA and the CT muscles work together. Okay. Let's see. I'll try and back up and give you an example. So for instance, Whitney Houston has a song called I Want to Run to You. I want to run to you, but if I come to you, so I just gave you an example of utilizing, and I'm warmed up, Lord have mercy, but you get the idea of an example of the mixed voice or the middle voice. I utilize both voices and mix them together. So that's what we want to do. We want to strengthen our voices. That is the voice that we use the most in very strong pop singing, Broadway singing, jazz singing. That's utilized the most in popular music. You think about Usher, where he sings, when you think about You Got It Bad, oh, now that's in the middle of my range because I'm a woman, but for him, that is, when he sings that line and You Got It Bad, that is him utilizing the mixed voice, okay, where those TA and CT muscles are working together. Another term I want you to know is the passaggio. Passaggio is an Italian term which just basically means the transition between registers. So the passaggio is really the weakest point of our voice. It's some people in popular music, if you go to a popular coach, someone who coaches strictly popular music and probably who does not have a degree in music, they may call it the break in your voice. But we don't like to call it the break because it's not really I don't want you to imagine that something is breaking inside of your voice. Really, we call it passaggio because it's a passage, okay? You want to think about it as something smooth, all right? That when you move, like I did earlier, so that place where you heard my voice switch from chest to head register is called the passaggio, the passage from that chest to head. So remember that term, passaggio. You'll hear me use that a lot. That is the weakest part of our voice. But our goal anytime you are getting vocal coaching, you are getting lessons, your goal should always be to strengthen that part of the voice, because that is your money maker. If you can be strong in that middle part of your voice, you pretty much can do anything with your voice. All right, so let's click and move ahead to some more terms that we need to know. last bit of information I want you to know are our guidelines for belting. So you've heard an example of belting. There are even more examples of belting, good belting and not so good belting. So skillful belting, what it should feel like is it should be easy on your throat, as if there's very little air that's escaping from your throat. Okay. If it hurts at all, then you should definitely strive to do it a different way, strive to learn it a different way, because that's not the way it should feel. Also, it should feel like you can move to your other pitches very easily. And when we say resonant in your mask, by the mask we mean like the front of your face. You should feel the front of your face vibrating. From the mask is the area from your cheeks through the from your cheeks up to just above your eyebrows is your mask, your vocal mask. Okay, you should feel it buzzing there. Okay, that's what we mean by resonant. Skillful belting sounds very full, but it's not strained and it's not screaming. Okay. When we say skillful, we mean it in the best way possible, okay? So we want it to sound good. We want it to sound clean. We want it to sound healthy, okay? And it should be clear and ringing. It should have a very nice, clear sound, should not be cracking, and the tone should be easy for you to produce, okay? And then a skilled belter, so that's you who might be singing in this style, belting. Your mouth is relaxed, your jaw is relaxed, your throat is relaxed. Every part of your body should be relaxed while you are belting, because that's the only way that air can most freely move through your body, because we use our entire bodies to sing. I always say we sing from the shortest hair on the top of our head to the shortest toenail on our foot and everything in between. We use our entire bodies, okay? So it should also be connected to the emotion of the song. You should not just be screaming just for screaming's sake, or singing loud just for loud's sake. If the emotion of the song calls for you to be strong and carry a very strong presence, then that's when belting is important. And also it should be energetic. You need a lot of energy, a lot of breath support, a lot of core tightness in order to belt and do it in a healthy way. Okay. So this is just a snapshot of what these things look like. I'm looking forward to working with you all face to face. Working on kind of developing these skills, because I know the belting is not really the most popular style right now in contemporary music, but that's something that I would like for everybody to be able to do, to at least have that in your arsenal. And for sure, we want to be able to sing through our registers as clearly and as seamlessly as possible. So that's the end of this lecture. You will have an assignment that will be due and be posted in the assignment section. Please make sure that you take care of that assignment. It will be due on next Tuesday. If you have any questions, you feel free and email me. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.